Okay, folks, for those of you that missed this in class, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on what these are, how to use them, and then how we can use something like this instead of these to identify certain angles. So we're going to start with our protractor. You'll notice on a protractor that we have a 0 right here. There's also a 0 here, and a 180 here, and there's a 180 here. So very important to realize that this instrument is made and designed for you to measure either going this way or to measure going this way. So the idea behind a protractor is we line, an angle is like a clock. So if we have two clock arms here and one of them moves, it creates an angle. And we measure the angle, which is how much each of the arms has separated, basically. So you'll see in this protractor here, if we go on the outside, top of the protractor, that's where 0 is, we go all the way around to the outside of the protractor, 180 is on this side. So that means this is our pivot point, our vertex, where the two lines meet. And like I said, it's like the clock of the arm. So both arms are over here to start. Then one of the arms, if it was to open all the way across to 180 degrees, it would form a perfectly straight line. So with our piece of paper, like so, we can identify a straight angle, it's called, a 180-degree angle, by just lining up a piece of paper. It's perfectly flat. So if our vertex was here, our arm would have started here and opened all the way over to here. That would measure 180 degrees. That's called a benchmark angle. We have two other benchmark angles that we're going to discuss today. We have this giant number 90 in the middle of our protractor. And it's big because that's one of our most important, most used benchmark angles. On the corner of our paper, guess what we form? One line going straight down, vertical, and one line going straight across, horizontal, forms a 90-degree angle. And it's usually, not always, but usually marked with a box in the corner, and instead of some angles would have an arc, a circle, part of a circle in it. 90-degree angle is usually indicated by a square or a mark like that in the corner. So with this simple piece of paper, now we have a straight angle. We also have a 90-degree angle. And the third benchmark angle that we're going to look at today is a 45-degree angle. So it's right there. If we're going from 0 up, it's right there. And if we were going on the other side from 0 up, it's right there. Okay? So how can we use this paper to determine what a 45-degree angle would look like? If we do a decent job folding this, matching up the sides, it's not always easy to do. And this is just for benchmarks, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be close. So if I fold this in half, like that, not bad. It's a little bit off, but you're going to get the idea. And like I said, it's a benchmark, so it's just for the idea. And we can see that line or ridge that we just created there. That is, maybe I'll go this way just so we're not using too busy on one side. So there's our ridge that goes up like that. From here up is 45 degrees. It's half of a 90-degree angle. So we just fold that in half. That means this side would also be 45 degrees. And 45 plus 45 make 90, which makes that whole angle again. So we're going to use just this piece of paper to determine what a couple of angles may be. We don't have to use a protractor, and we don't even really have to use the paper. We don't have to line it up like a protractor. We can just use this and say, okay, looking at this angle, it looks very close to a 90-degree angle. Remember, 90 is perfectly perpendicular. One line going straight up and down, one line going straight across. It's very close to that. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's not, it's not less than that. And it's very close to 90, so it's not going to be 160. So that angle is going to be 95. And we learned earlier about obtuse and acute and right. That would be obtuse. Now looking at this angle and our benchmark, it is smaller than 90. So it's not going to be 90. If it's less than 90, it can't be 145. So using our benchmark of 45, it's a little bit smaller than 45. If I use this paper to line it up, it's a little bit smaller. So that means it's 35 and it is acute. And the last one that we have to do, we'll reset our little benchmark paper. So looking at our 90-degree angle and looking at this one, it looks like this arm didn't quite get up to 90. So it's going to be a little less than 90. So it's not right. It's not obtuse because it's less than 90. So we have acute. That means it's not 95. And we just said it's not a perfect match for 90. We can double check. When we line that up there, it covers the second ray or the second arm. You can see that it's going under there a little tiny bit. So that means it's not 90. So it has to be 85 degrees. So using just a simple little piece of paper with a couple of benchmarks, we can determine what an angle is close to just by using this without having to use our protractor. I'd like you guys to finish. If you had work and you actually were in class, you can finish what you were supposed to be doing.